Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Nina Silic, nutrition and lifestyle coach, and today we're going to talk about, is your metabolism broken? Okay, you guys, this is such an important topic because I know so many of you really feel like your metabolism is broken because you are stuck in a place where you just can't lose weight no matter what you do, or you can't lose body fat. You might feel like you're eating very, very little calories. And this is something I wanted to talk about in more depth because I did a post on Instagram a couple of days ago showcasing two photos, one with me at the end of my very first reverse diet I ever did, and one at the end of my most recent reverse diet. And the two photos show me very, very differently. One, I've gained a really huge amount of body fat, and the other one is pretty much how I look right now. So in this post, I talk about how I was stuck in a vicious cycle for so long, many years ago, eating about 1,200 calories and still struggling to get fat off. And then at some point, I was actually, in fact, gaining weight, eating approximately 1,200 calories a day, training 6 days a week, and I did not look like I trained 6 days a week and ate 1,200 calories. I looked like a little dumpling, like I would say, I just didn't look the part, and I felt stuck and I felt so uncomfortable in my skin. And after doing this post, I noticed so many of you out there too are either really stuck in this place feeling this way, or you have felt this way and you just don't know how to get out of it. And many of you think that your metabolism is in fact broken. Some questions I've gotten in my DMs have said, oh my gosh, does your body adapt? Does this really happen? What is going on? So let's talk about, is your metabolism in fact broken? What's happening there? And then how do we find a solution to what's going on? How do we get out of this place that you're maybe stuck in, eating very, very little calories a day? So the first thing I'm going to address is, no, your metabolism is not broken, even though it might feel like it. So if you are somebody who is reducing calories or eating very little calories for a very long period of time, or even if you just do, let's say, a 12-week diet where it's a calorie deficit, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. That is fact. You can't get around that. But what happens is, during that time of reducing calories, our body likes to adapt. And you'll notice that when you hit plateaus in your diet. So let's say you start your diet maybe on 1,500 calories a day, and you see progress for that maybe for a few weeks, so let's say 4 weeks, right? And these are just random numbers as an example, right? They're not set in stone. So let's say this person is losing weight on 1,500 calories for about 4 weeks, and after about 4 weeks, we don't see any more progress on those calories. We've had a plateau. This is because our bodies are very adaptive beings. They don't want you to lose fat. They want to conserve energy. So your body will adapt, and those calories are now your new normal. So to lose even more body fat, you have to reduce those calories from that 1,500 even further, maybe down to something like 1,300. And then you might see progress for another X amount of weeks. Everybody's very different, right? And then you don't see progress anymore. So it's the same thing. Your body now adapts to that, and that 1,300 or so is your new normal. So if you are somebody who's struggling on 1,200 calories a day, and you are in fact eating 1,200 calories a day every single day, and you're stuck there, this is because your body has now adapted to these calories, and this is your new normal calorie intake where you maintain weight. Does it kind of suck? Yeah, it sucks that our body adapts, but it's just a survival mechanism. So that's something that you have to keep in mind. That's what's happening. It's a very normal response to have. This is the response that happens anytime you enter a calorie deficit, whether it's for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 months, it doesn't matter. So for those of you who have been restricting calories for a very long period of time, 6 months to a year or more, or constantly trying to restrict, your body is going to be adapting. And then a lot of you, what happens, you gain weight. And this is my first photo in that reverse diet post. I gained a lot of body fat because my body was just so primed to gain fat. So when you've been reducing calories for an extended period of time, all your body wants to do is store fat because it thinks you're going to be in a famine again and again and again. So it's like, okay, I think this energy is going to disappear soon again because she keeps taking food away from me. I'm going to make sure I store as much energy as possible. So that's where the fat regain comes in if you do increase calories quickly. If you've been restricting in a pretty extreme manner, sometimes we actually see fat cells multiply and not just expand again. So you can actually gain more fat cells, if you've been in an extreme way and you increase your calories too fast. So we get to that point. Now we understand why we're there. We're stuck. What do we even do? So a solution to this is a post-diet recovery, something called a reverse diet. Now, this is important to implement whether you've just been dieting for 8 weeks or you're someone who's really stuck in a place, in a vicious cycle of constantly trying to diet, regaining weight, restricting again, regaining weight, and you're just stuck in a low calorie deficit with so much weight regained. A reverse diet or a recovery diet phase, it's the same thing, is something we need to implement. So what even is that? That is increasing calories slowly, week to week over time. So just like with the dieting phase, it's a deficit. We're reducing calories slowly over time. So our body's adapting to that. We want our bodies to now adapt to that slow calorie increase. So we need to increase it slowly every single week or every couple of weeks, depending on how your body responds, and increase that curve of calorie intake, right? This might take 3 months, 6 months. It might take a long time. The recommendation generally is at least half the time of your current diet is the reverse diet, or even better, it's going to be the full length of the time you've been dieting, you should reverse diet for. So for example, if I've been dieting for 12 weeks, my bare minimum reverse diet should be 6 weeks, but even better, it should be at least 12 weeks or more, right? So it is a slow process. It's like watching paint dry, and it can be really difficult mentally more than anything, particularly if you're somebody who's already in a position where you're uncomfortable with your body or the amount of body fat you currently have, but you're surviving on very little calories to maintain that. You most likely are going to be gaining some more body fat during that reverse diet phase. But let me tell you this, being uncomfortable for a short period of time is so worth it in the long run. Because if you continue on this cycle of restricting calories, gaining weight, restricting, you're not going to get out of it. You're going to be stuck. It really does take you to do something you've maybe never done before, or something that you're not quite comfortable with, and stick with it to get out of that vicious cycle. And then you hopefully don't ever have to be in that cycle again. So that's what it was like for me as well. That end of that first reverse diet photo, I had gained a whole lot of body fat, but that's because I had come from such a restrictive dieting cycle that it was necessary for me to gain that much weight just to get my calories up to a reasonable level. It's how my body responded, and that's okay. But the second end of my reverse diet years later, you can clearly see that I have a much lower body fat level, and I was still able to get my calories right up to around 2,100 calories a day. And I still look pretty in shape. I'm not shredded, but I still look reasonably lean. And that's because I've allowed a lot of time of reverse dieting and dieting and spending time at that new maintenance I've created where my body's adapted to that. So I am proof of that. I've worked with so many clients who have been in a similar situation, and it's something that can be implemented for everybody. But the hardest part of that reverse dieting process and getting out of that vicious cycle of, restriction, it's more mentally challenging than it is physically challenging, because you're making such small changes to your calories each week that it's hard to see that end goal, or you getting there, and nothing's moving on the scale. So if anything, your weight's staying the same or it's increasing a little bit. And it's mentally really challenging, but you have to remind yourself that it's temporary and it's necessary to get out of that situation that you are in. And if you do it once properly, you will never have to go through it again in a difficult way if you continue to implement a recovery phase or that reverse diet after any dieting period that you have. It will get absolutely easier over time, and you'll be able to lower your body fat set point and increase your calories much easier over time. So I hope that gives you all a little bit more clarity on what's going on with your bodies when you're dieting and why you're stuck on low calories, and also how to get out of it with that reverse diet. If you need any more information, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I'll leave all of my information in the description below. And if you liked this video and found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up because it helps me out a lot, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss a video. I'll catch you guys next time.